When comparing Tangzhong and Yudane, which is how I pronounce it, they're the same process. The process is mixing flour with a boiling water to create gelatinization of the starches. What does that mean? Well, it means that the starch is able to hold in extra liquid, and that's what makes this method special. When you add extra liquid to your bread, it allows the gluten to form better and create a higher rise. That said, it does take a little bit longer for the rise to happen, but you can do this and use this method without using vital wheat gluten as an additive in your bread. Tangzhong uses a ratio of 1 part flour to 5 parts water by weight. Yudane uses a ratio of 1 part flour to 2 parts water, also by weight. So if you're not using a scale, we've got a problem. Other than the ratio of flour to water, the method that we make the water roux with is different. So for Tangzhong, we're cooking the water and the flour mixture on the stove until it becomes a pudding-like consistency, and that means that some of the water has to be cooked out. Whereas with Yudane, you boil the water first, and then you pour your boiling water over top of the flour and quickly mix it into a paste, and you're done. Both methods require the cooling of the paste or the water roux before making your bread so as to not kill the yeast. Which method you use, Tangzhong or Yudane, is really up to you. Which method I use is Yudane, because everything that I do in my kitchen needs to be practical, simple, healthy, and delicious. Okay? I am a very quick moving, many things doing mom, and I don't have time for complicated. Tangzhong is more complicated than Yudane. In my kitchen, I like to use a quick, no-wait Yudane method, which I pretty much came up with myself. And here's how it works. Once the gelatinization of starches has occurred and you have your paste, the process is done. Cooling it down faster isn't going to stop that from happening. It's already happened. So I just change one step at the end of making my Yudane. Instead of allowing your Yudane mixture to slowly cool at room temperature or stick it in the refrigerator and wait a while, I found that by adding it to the water in my bread recipe and just mixing it for about 2 seconds, it really doesn't take long, the temperature cools enough that it won't kill your yeast. Hence, no wait, quick Yudane. If Yudane or Tangzhong sound too complicated or even a little bit too scary, that's okay. There are alternatives, and you probably already have them in your kitchen. Do you have leftover oatmeal, hot cereal, cooked rice, or mashed potatoes? All of these starches had to be boiled in water, which did the exact same thing as Tangzhong and Yudane, gelatinization of the starches. Substitute any of these for water roux in a recipe, or add it to your own base recipe and see how you like it. How much to use? I would start with about 1/3 cup per loaf of bread. Now we're going to get into a little bit of math here, so if you're math weary, feel free to just use one of my recipes. Instead, I've done it all for you. But we're going to talk about how to convert any bread recipe to one using a water roux, and in particular to use a Yudane. So you want to look at the amount of flour in your recipe. Let's say it's 400 grams of flour. Yes, we're going by weight. So let's move the decimal place one step to the left. So instead of 400, we now have 40, or 10% of your flour. That's how much water roux or Yudane you want to use in your recipe. So how much flour would be saved for this Yudane? Well, we take our 40 and we divide by 3. 1 part for flour, 2 parts for water. 40 divided by 3 is 13 1/3. We can round up, no big deal, we're using grams. So let's say 14 grams of flour. How much boiling water should we pour over that flour? Twice the amount, or 28 grams. You can really make this simple and just round it. So I would say 15 grams of flour, 30 grams of boiling water, you're still going to be good to go. Mix it into a paste, add it into your water, and make bread just like you always do. How much water roux can be used in a bread recipe will really depend on you. The range goes from anywhere around 2 to 5% to 20%. The higher the amount of water roux you use in your bread, the higher a chance you have of getting gummy bread. So I like to stick with 10% and then do my calculations rounding up so that I'm still in that safe zone of not having gummy bread, but still having soft, moist bread that lasts, right? And I can leave out the vital wheat gluten. If you go to my website, justmillet.com, you will see that I have several different recipes for a crusty, big hold Italian bread loaf. And several of the recipes include vital wheat gluten. And then I have one with no additives. That's because, yet again, I'm reminded of just how great this Yudane method is, in that I could replace my vital wheat gluten with Yudane, allowing me to hold more water in the bread, still have a bigger rise without the additives. Even over 100% of the flour being water. So I really hope you give that recipe a try. If you really want a fun dough to work with, try that one. I hope I demystified water roux, Tangzhong, Yudane, and how to use it in your bread. It really is simple. I hope you give it a try. But if you're still scared or having issues using this method, reach out to me. Email me, mel@justmillet.com, or join our Facebook group and ask questions where me and Lovely Belle Bakes can help you with your bread challenges. I really enjoy helping you with your bread making journey, especially when it comes to health and whole grains.
And love.
And love. So I hope you comment, like, subscribe, and share this with someone you know who could benefit from whole grains and fresh milled flour. Have a happy and healthy day.